Hi, welcome back to Pleased to Dwell, Chapter 11, Weeping Mother, Faithful Father. Okay, so we've got in this section really the real sadness of the Christmas story, because this is where Herod's fury and Herod's rage is described for us, or at least it's referenced. It's not described too vividly, thankfully, but after they, that is the Magi, the wise men, after they were gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, "Get up, take the child and his mother, flee to Egypt, and stay there until I tell you. For Herod is about to search for the child to kill him." So he got up, took the child and his mother during the night, and escaped to Egypt. He stayed there until Herod's death, so that what was spoken by the Lord through the prophet might be fulfilled. "Out of Egypt I called my son." So we see God's initiative here, obviously sending the angel, giving Joseph the warning that Herod's about to try to kill the child. And so during the night, they made their escape. Now, this wasn't the night that Jesus was born, because we know from Luke that Jesus was circumcised in Jerusalem on the 8th day, but this doesn't have to be a long time after. This could be in those first few weeks. So we see God's initiative and action at that point, but also there's this reference to God's prophecy in the past. And now this prophecy is through the prophet Hosea 11 verse 1. And it's a bit of a strange one. When you look at it in its context, you think, well, there's no prediction there. It's not looking forward to something that's going to happen in the future. It's completely looking backwards to the time when God rescued Israel out of Egypt in the Exodus. Okay, well, maybe the concept of fulfillment doesn't require the text that's being fulfilled to be predictive. It could be that the text that's being fulfilled is looking backwards and it's demonstrating the way God works. And if that's the way God works in history, in the Exodus, rescuing Israel out of Egypt, then how much more will God rescue his son Jesus out of Egypt at this time? Israel is referenced as son in Hosea. Okay, so got this quote from Hosea. Right after this, we then get the killing of the babies or the infants, and there is a quote from Jeremiah. That's the time of the exile. Okay, so here's a quote from the book. In 6 verses, Matthew weaves together allusions to 2 momentous occasions in the history of Israel: the Exodus and the exile, 2 great persecutions of Israel, 2 great deliverances by God. And now both converge in, that should be, the personal history of God's Son himself. In this latter drama of the persecution and deliverance of God's Son, the Son is not Israel as a nation, but the person of Jesus. And the evil enemy is neither Pharaoh nor Nebuchadnezzar, but the evil tyrant Herod. So in those 2 previous events, the Exodus, of course, they were fleeing from Pharaoh. In the exile, they were being taken away and persecuted by Nebuchadnezzar. But now the threat is coming from Herod. Now, why is it not mentioned in the history books, this killing of all these boys? The sad fact is that a lot is mentioned in the history books about Herod, and everything that's mentioned affirms that this is exactly the kind of thing that he would do. But probably this wasn't a big enough event to get the attention of the people who were writing the history. Herod was a paranoid tyrant. He was Arab in terms of his ethnicity, sort of brought into Judaism 3 generations before, but really a messed up person. His lineage was Idumean and Nabatean. Culturally, he was very Greek. He was promoting Greek culture, and Greek was probably his first language. And he was very much wanting to kind of Hellenize Israel politically, absolutely Roman. Tied into the Romans, connected with them, always schmoozing and networking and getting his power from them. Herod was a nasty piece of work. Killed his favorite wife, Mariamne, killed 3 of his sons, killed his father-in-law, killed his brother-in-law, who was the high priest, by having him drowned. I mean, there's a lot of things about Herod that are quite hideous. Just one example more. When Herod was about to die, he arranged for 3,000 Jews to be brought into a stadium, and then upon notice of his own death, they were to be slaughtered because he wanted there to be mourning in the country. Thankfully, even though they were gathered, the soldiers didn't follow through on that instruction. And so the 3,000 lives were spared. But it shows you the kind of person that he was. And so killing a relatively small number of infants, of children under the age of 2 in Bethlehem and the small region around it, probably wouldn't have registered as anything particularly unusual, sadly. That was the kind of person Herod was. And so we've got in this section here the weeping of the mothers. You read about it in the next few verses, the weeping of the mothers of Bethlehem for their sons. But we can also see through these 6 verses that we have a faithful father, not just Joseph faithfully protecting his family, but a God who cares for his son Jesus, and a God who is in charge to follow through and to bring about his purposes. Thank you so much for watching. We've got one more.